Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Röhl.
Welcome to the Rangers Journey.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Rangers Journal podcast. I am not going to speak about yesterday's game. I am saving up a super duper 2-hour pod today or that tonight to slate the refereeing in Scotland. But we're here to discuss Danny Rohl, and to do that, I've got Joe Crann, who's a Sheffield Wednesday journalist with the Star. Joe, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Aye, not bad at all. Before we go any further, this podcast is brought to you and sponsored by Bluebell's Bar in Puerto del Carmen, the only Rangers bar in Puerto del Carmen. It's family friendly. You can eat, drink, chill, or you can go to their games night and stuff on a Monday. Please head on over to their Facebook page. Give them a wee follow and a like. Kenny's a really, really good guy. They show every single Rangers game going, and they're open all year round. Right, anyway, Joe, thank you for coming on. Danny Rohl, tell me a wee bit about Sheffield Wednesday first. How's things down your end?
It's fun. Sheffield Wednesday are never really too far away from some form of drama and chaos. It's been that way for many years now. All sort of came to a head over the last few weeks with Depan Chansiri having to put the club into administration because basically he was going to get given a winding up order for money owed to the government. So yeah, Wednesday in administration now, waiting to find a new owner and waiting for a new dawn to begin. I know that's something that you've been through in the past as well, isn't it?
Yep, it's an absolutely horrendous position. You've got my deepest sympathies. You really have. I'm following it closely. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday's recent plight has been a somewhat benefit to Rangers. Obviously, we were able to buy J.D. Gassama in the summer, and now we've got your former manager, Danny Rohl. Tell me a wee bit about Gassama first. How do you think he's settled into life up there?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was always going to be difficult in terms of he took a bit of time to settle at Wednesday, and it was his first season was pretty good, but his second season was really strong. That's when he really he managed to bed himself in, and I know that he's been played as a wing back by Danny, and he's there's been a few bits like that where with Jeddy he's an attacking player, that's what he's best at, and he did like I say his second season at Wednesday was really good. Obviously saw he scored some pretty good goals early doors in his Rangers career. That seemed to dry up a little bit as the results in general seemed to dry up. But yeah, I think with Jeddy, he has got a very high ceiling. I think, you got him on a snip from Wednesday, given the circumstances. And I think, you'll probably be at some point, making some pretty decent profit on Jeddy Gassama, because like I say, his ceiling's very high, and I think Danny will get the best out of him as well.
In terms of Danny Rohl, what was your kind of initial thoughts on the appointment of Rangers getting him a job?
It was interesting because I saw, I know there was quite a lot of discourse about, the appointment before when his name was linked in the first place, and a lot of people saying, how bad an appointment it was going to be, and I was a bit shocked really, because he did such an incredible job of Wednesday, especially the first season. The first season, Wednesday were dead and buried. There was absolutely no way Wednesday should have stayed up that season. And what Danny did was, steady the ship is probably an understatement. He really turned things around with Wednesday. And obviously the players bought into what he was doing. There was a point when you had Josh Windass and Barry Bannon saying he's the best manager that they've ever worked with, best coach they've ever worked with. Right. So yeah, he was. It obviously all went a bit sour towards the end of it for various different reasons, but. The minute I saw Danny linked with Rangers, I thought that'd be a good move for both parties, because Danny's been looking for he wants big jobs, he wants to manage big football clubs, he wants to win trophies, and obviously at Rangers you've got a real chance of doing that.
Aye, definitely. See, one thing I have noticed about Rangers since he's came in is that off the ball work is so much better. There's a structure there that wasn't there under Russell Martin.
He won't have it if it's not. he'll be laying into people if it's not. It's a big part of Danny's. So I remember having a chat with Danny when he first joined Wednesday, and I always sort of like to ask managers like how they want to work when they go to a new club. You know, whether they work with what they've got and make them, you know, they find the best formation, the best way of playing based on them, or whether they go in with their way of playing and effectively force it upon who's there and make them go that way. And I think one of the interesting things with Danny was that he's got his principles that he doesn't deviate from, but he's not afraid to change things up in terms of how they play formationally and all that kind of thing. So you'll see him with a back four, you'll see him with a back three, you know, wing backs pushing up, all that kind of thing. But yeah, he's a manager that will not accept people that don't work hard off the ball. And if you're not doing that, you won't be in the side.
Does he have like Rangers fans like having a figurehead of Steven Gerrard, for example? You know, the guy who walks into a room and there's just an aura about him. Did Danny Rohl have the respect and stuff for the players at Sheffield Wednesday? Did he have control of the dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, like I say, by the end, it all got a little bit messy. Wednesday's situation wasn't good. You know, Danny wasn't there for the first bit of pre-season, and it was, like I say, it was a shame because it sort of tarnished everything that had been gone before. But certainly, when things were going well at Wednesday, he very much had the respect of everyone, and I think he's got one of those things that he can draw on where, you know, if your striker's not doing something right, you can say things like, well, you know, when I was working with Robert Lewandowski, this is kind of how he used to work. And like, you know, it holds some sway, that kind of thing. He's worked, I know not as a manager, but he's worked with some top players. He's best mates with Hansi Flick. Like, so he's got a pretty decent sounding board if he's needing a little bit of help.
Aye, definitely. What about his style of play when he went in? Did he alter his style of play? Would you say to get the best out of the players?
Yeah. So he's a modern manager, plays the Red Bull, but the Red Bull way. That, you know, that's a very specific style of football. They work quick on the transition. They like possession based stuff, all that kind of thing. But I think Danny took a bit of time when he first came to Wednesday to sort of go, well, how are we going to get the best out of this? How are we going to try and save this season? And Wednesday did go a bit more direct for large parts of that first season, and they had to. You know, it was a needs must scenario. By the time the second season came around, Danny had obviously had a full pre-season with him then at that point, and you know, we'd been off to Austria and Germany and played RB Salzburg and all that kind of stuff. So that he'd had a real chance to drill into the players what he wanted from them, and they did play very different in the second half of the season. But I think it was why when, you know, a lot of like Rangers fans seem to be likening him to Russell and going, he's only got one way of playing, this is all he does. That's not really Danny's way. Like if he sees something's not working, he'll try it. He'll try and keep going with what he wants to do. But as long as his key elements of work ethic and high press and all that kind of stuff, as long as that's being adhered to, the actual style of football, he's quite versatile.
He definitely strikes that anyway. I think his first game against Kilmarnock, he wasn't shy in changing it up because we went in one each at half time, and we came out, we just looked like a completely different team, much more direct. Crosses getting flung into the ball.
It's interesting that you say that, because there were a lot of games last season. Well, I suppose in his first season as well to some extent, but where literally they would go in at half time and come out a different team. Like whether it was he'd seen something in the game that wasn't quite working in the first half, or a player wasn't doing what he needed, so they needed to be taken out, or whatever it might be. There was a lot of games that Wednesday were like really like substantially better in the second half. And it's interesting that already you've sort of seen that at Rangers as well.
Even yesterday, taking into account like that first half performance wasn't up to standard at all, and then the second half we came out and we basically controlled the game for like 35 minutes with 10 men. It was just We found our way back into the game, and then unfortunately, team's legs went in extra time, and Celtic came out winners. But he's been into that old firm yesterday and came out with a bit of credit, I think, if that makes, if there ever has been a such thing. We've appointed, we're an absolute basket case here, club, man. We've appointed some horrendous people to take that manager's office, and I'm hoping that this is definitely going to be the right appointment, finally, if that makes any sense. How do you think he's going to do up here?
I think he'll do well. I think he's also, because of his background and where he's worked and who he's worked with, I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on him as well. It always felt at Wednesday like there was always, Wednesday were never going to be the end of it for him. Do you know what I mean? Like, it always felt like there was going to be a next step. And obviously, from a club size perspective, Rangers is massive, and you've got European football and, you know, a chance to like really win league titles and stuff, which you're obviously not going to get at Wednesday, especially when with the chairman being there when Danny was at the club. But yeah, I think I think he'll do well, and I think that will inevitably at some point be somebody knocking on your door asking if there's somewhere else they can take him off to.
Fair enough. As long as he comes up here and does his business, I'm not thinking about that, to be honest. But see, in terms of signings, was he good in the transfer market?
It was a bit hit and miss, but again, like, I'm very wary to judge anybody at Sheffield Wednesday, given the restraints that they've had to work under. I mean, you look at someone like Ike Ugbo. Ike was brilliant on loan at Wednesday, was a massive part of Wednesday staying up. Danny and Wednesday paid out a big chunk of money for him by our standards anyway. I think it's one of the first times we've paid a fee over £1 million for years, and he's not scored since. So that it's just not worked out for Ike. It's tough on him and it's tough on everybody. But for every Ike, there's a Jan Valerie who's been brilliant. You know, Jan came in and has been fantastic. So yeah, it's been pretty hit and miss. But I mean, I think that's pretty par for the course in modern football anyway, right? Like, not everyone gets all the signs, but unless you're Brentford and Brighton, who seem to just sign fantastic players every single time. And again, there were some pretty bad signings in terms of like how they ended up playing out during the time at Hillsborough, whether it was on loan or permanent transfers or whatever. But like I say, I'm a little bit reticent to lay all that blame at Danny's door, considering what he was working with, and I know that the restraints at Wednesday under Chansiri were madness.
What's he like with the press? How did you find him?
Danny's interesting because I presume is he going around shaking everyone's hands when he comes in? He's very hands-on in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's very eager to have a chat with people and all that kind of stuff in that space. I did notice as time went by, he got a little bit better at sort of masking his emotions a little bit. He was early doors at Wednesday. When Wednesday were great, he was in a great mood. When Wednesday were bad, you could tell. But he's managed to sort of level things out a little bit more now, which is, that only comes with time. That's experience of being a manager and managing that kind of thing is you're only going to pick up that by doing it. But yeah, he's a good talker, fascinating to listen to, because he's a proper I think football nerd is probably a nice way of putting it. Like he lives and breathes the game. He's nice. He was an analyst, so he's done all of that stuff to get to where he is now. So he loves that element of the game. And he's a very interesting man to talk to, because he's got a lot of really interesting ideas. And we had there was one time when we were at pre-season, season summer before last, we actually had a sit down with him for about an hour, so just having a chat with him about various different things, not just the football, but about his playing career that fizzled out due to injury and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot going on with Danny. I think you'll have good fun with him.
Right, yesterday the referee was historic broke the camel's back in that Old Firm game. Like Jack Butland get kicked in the face and the Trusty got a yellow card and all this type of stuff. Right, it was just a wild performance for Nick Walsh. But Danny Rohl, when he came out in his presser after it, didn't he really want to use that as an excuse? What's he like at commenting on like refereeing performances and stuff like that? Like,
no, he'll be very subtle with that kind of thing. He's not going to come out and batter people. You know, he's too young, man. Like, you know, like it's not the things that like young managers don't really do it because they've grown up knowing that it's a waste of time and it only ever gets you in trouble anyway. I don't recall. I remember Danny sort of questioning referees' decisions and saying, "Look, I don't really understand that. I don't get it." But like, he's never going to be coming out and going, "Well, that ref was awful." Like, that's not really his style.
That's what we're going to be doing at half 6 tonight. Hey, Joe, thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to? Where can people find you?
You can find me at I'll try that again. I've lost my teeth. You can find me at Yes We Crann on Twitter, but mainly Sheffield Wednesday stuff. So if you're not fancying being part of this family, then it's probably not worth the follow. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Rangers do. As long as you don't take any more of our players, you can leave everyone else where they are. Thanks.
I think we were linked to you keep out at one point.
Bailey Kadamata, you can get your hands off him. Thank you very much.
No, I don't think we'll be getting back. Jack Butland's playing outstanding this season. He's been really, really good. Probably the best player on the team, to be honest with you.
Oh, sorry, no, that's another one. No, that was Pierce Charles. Pierce Charles is very, very good, the goalkeeper.
Charles,
yeah, and Sal Bibbo works with him at Wednesday as well. So yeah, Pierce is going to be doing big things. He will be a very, very good player. Bailey Kadamata is the striker that I saw you were linked with the other day.
All right, okay. I didn't know that was
if you could leave.
Danny Kadamata is boy.
Certainly is, yeah. How old do you feel about that?
I feel ancient now. See, quickly on Sal Bibbo, do you think we could credit him for Jack Butland's kind of upturn in performances?
Potentially. I mean, Sal did a great job at Wednesday. You speak to any of we had James Beadle, who's obviously at Birmingham now, England international at youth level. Pierce Charles is again come on loads, and a lot of the guys, the keepers, spoke very, very highly about Sal, and I know that that's been sort of pretty constant all the way through his career. So yeah, look, I mean, obviously Jack Butland's not a kid, he's done his time, but I suppose you're never too old to learn, you're never too old to find new tricks and all that kind of thing, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a little helping hand from Sal in there, because like I say, he's very highly respected, and he was a real loss to Sheffield Wednesday when he moved on.
Aye, definitely, 100%. We needed a goalkeeping coach, and I'm glad we got him in, because Butland's upturning. As I say, he's been my best player this season. He's been absolutely outstanding. I think Sal Bibbo needs a wee mention for that, because I wasn't sure. I mean, Jack Butland was punching the ball and he's in net against Man United last season. That's kind of where we were with Jack Butland. You know what I mean? He wasn't a great goalkeeper for us last year. It was clangers every other week. He get dropped when Barry Ferguson came in, I think, for Liam Kelly for a few matches and stuff. So I'm glad that he's back in form, and we appear to have a competent goalkeeping coach looking after him. Right, Joe, thank you for coming on, mate.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much, and hopefully you guys can do the business, and we'll see Jeddy Gassama playing some more European football in a little while.
I'll get Roma on Thursday night, so you'll see him on Thursday.
Lovely stuff. Thanks very much, man.
No bother, mate. Right, everybody, that concludes that wee interview. So please like and subscribe. We'll see you all at 6:30 tonight. And remember, every night's a Rangers Journal night.